Now, thank you very much, good Africans. Now, welcome to our governance talk. This is what we call the governance talk, and this is just towards this is preceding the official launching of a sub movement that is related to the our first pillar of the Change for African campaign, which is governance. So, speaking about sub movement, as we said, these are just originating from the fundamentals. The fundamentals were the five pillars of the Change for African campaign. So these are things that are all originating from the five fundamental pillars of the Change for African campaign. Because remember, as I tried to articulate this before, that in Africa we have so much, we have so much things that are not going right. And to my surprise, actually, before I even came here, or before I started to speak this, that I've been having another conversation, and I've been hearing that people trying to say that it is not going to, nothing is going to change across Africa because of one thing or the other, that nothing is going to change across Africa. So my question is, do you believe that nothing is going to change in Africa, across Africa? Because we have so many things that are taking place, that Africa is just in a quagmire. So speaking about governance talk, because remember, yesterday, we now officially inducted the African Youth for Climate and Environmental Action. And then what we are doing this week, I'll be making sure that we launch our sub-movement that is originating from our first pillar of the Change for African campaign. Remember, Change for African campaign is not there. It is live and well. It's only that we finished the 5 episodes, we finished the 100 episodes that were originating from the 5 pillars of the Change for African campaign: governance, potential resources, living standards, and also the climate change. So we are live and well, and we are going to make sure that this is a journey that's going to proceed. So why do people say that I've been speaking about going into practical part of things? It is true, we are going into practical part of doing things, but then remember one thing, that this is governance, and governance is more an issue of, as I said before, that governance is the software of development. So now I want us to have some solemn discussion around the areas of governance, surrounding governance. That governance, the issue of governance crippling is live and well in Africa. Malfunctioning of many governance systems in Africa are live and well. Just look at the current situations in Africa. Sorry. Look at the current proceedings in Africa. I'll give an example of the Eastern Africa, because currently, like for now, I'm in the Eastern Africa. Looking at what is happening in the Eastern Africa, mostly of the three countries, the most epitome countries that define the Eastern Africa, we have the Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. You can look at what is happening. Then many people may try to understand or to ask, why is it that instead of, because I come from a particular country, which is Kenya, instead of me trying to articulate issues that are related more to Kenya, well, why am I trying to be very realistic in terms of how I put these issues on the board and trying to bring, trying to have the change for Africa? This is the reason. Let me tell you this for the first time, that you have to understand this, that I remember I've done this before. If you go back to my episodes, or our episode of the Change for African campaign, the 100 of them, I remember I was saying that once there is no peace in the Democratic Republic of Congo, then Tanzania is not safe, then Namibia is not safe, then Burundi is not safe, then Rwanda is not safe. That is what I say. What do I mean when I say that? Now, in this context of the Eastern Africa, I'm using this to try and exemplify this situation, that the reason as to why the Change for African campaign was necessary, and it's one of the very strategic pillars, one of the very strategic action that I took, or that we took as Africans, because Change for African campaign is a movement that is aimed at civilizing the African youth. One of the very things as to why we focus on the Change for African campaign, not Change for Kenya or Change for where campaign, it is because and I was giving an example of Kenya. That take an example now. Kenya, we can see the tensions are high. I trying to see that in the next general election, somebody is going home and the other one is taking over. Whatever will happen. But then remember, as I said, we need to be very strategic, not just to put things across and say this one is to go and this one is to remain. And so, if this one goes, what next? That is some of the very fundamental questions that we should be asking ourselves, because. Yes, one person might go, that is Kenya. We can say now we are having a new regime, come 2027, that is when the general election will be taking place. Or even Uganda, 2026, there will be election, not 2026, 2026 there will be election, because Tanzania they are having the election this year, when the year will come to an end. let us say either of the three countries. Just using that one as an example. Not that I'm being more confined in one region. No, I'm an African. We are Africans, and Africa is on business, so we discuss Africa. I'm trying to give you the full arena of things and how things are working. But now, either of the countries, somebody that is not there currently takes over. Perhaps the president, and also